attempt, we have started infectious diseases in the medicine, in which we have already discussed about diphtheria, malaria, dengue fever, and some other topics. And today we are going to discuss about the rabies. So the rabies is basically caused by a virus called the rhabdovirus, and this virus is basically found in the saliva of dog and bats. So by the bite of dog and bats, by the bite of infected dog and infected bat, the patient can get rhabdovirus infection, and this virus has affinity for the CNS tissue and for the salivary gland, and it can also be transferred by skin abrasion and by intact mucous membrane. The incubation period is from 9 days to up to month, but the average incubation period is between 4 or 8 weeks. And it is a fatal disease. The clinical feature, at the onset, the patient present with fever and paresthesia at the site of bite, and in the prodromal period, that is in the next 10 days, the patient get anxious. He develop the characteristic hydrophobia. He fears from drinking water, though he is thirsty, but he fears to drink water, because on attempt of drinking water there is contraction of diaphragm and inspiratory muscle, leads to the hydrophobia. There will be delusion and hallucination, due to which the patient will spit, will bite, and will have a phase of mania, which is in the manic phase. He will be spinning around in pleasure, while in the biting he can bite himself or can bite other, and he will spit. So these delusion and hallucination can occur. With lucid interval, the anxiousness increase. The cranial lesion can develop. If the cranial nerve are involved, then the patient can develop hyperpyrexia and death within a week of within a week of onset of sign symptom. The investigation is basically totally clinically, the diagnosis is totally clinical, but we can confirm our diagnosis by immunofluorescence, to detect the antigen of the rhabdovirus by immunofluorescence test. So we can take a skin biopsy and can take a corneal impression smear. As it can spread to the intact mucosa, it can spread to the skin infection, skin lesion. So we have to take the skin biopsy, and it can spread to the intact mucosa. So we have to take the corneal impression smear. In the management, we have to treat the established disease. We have to we have to give prophylaxis to the pre-exposed person, and we have to give prophylaxis to the post-exposed person. If the patient is infected with the rhabdovirus, then we have to prophylax this patient. If he is not infected with the virus, but there is a chance of getting infection, so we have to give prophylaxis to those group also, and we have to treat the disease. If the patient present with the disease in the first few hours, if we give post exposure prophylaxis to a patient, some patient have survived due to post exposure prophylaxis. So in other patient, we give palliative treatment, because the disease is a fatal disease. But if the patient present in the first few hours or on the first day, so then we can give post exposure prophylaxis to a patient, and the patient may survive. So the palliative treatment include IV diazepam. Giving IV diazepam, to sedate the patient, we have to give IV diazepam. We can give chlorpromazine, and we have to maintain the fluid and nutrition balance of the patient. We have to give tubal feeding, and we have to do gastrostomy if needed, and we have to maintain the IV line. We have to give the IV fluids. To prevent dehydration, we have to give IV fluids, and to prevent electrolyte and nutrition imbalance. So the prophylaxis in this patient is the pre-exposure prophylaxis. To which group we will give pre-exposure prophylaxis? To the professional workers which deals with the infected animals, to the lab worker which deals with the rhabdovirus, and to the persons and the people living in the rabies endemic area. We have to immunize these group. We have to immunized professional worker, lab worker, and people living in endemic area. So for immunization, we will give human diploid cell strain vaccine. This vaccine is given either intradermally or intramuscularly, and two injection is given 4 weeks apart. This is the 4 weeks apart. Two injection are given to the to this susceptible group. And post exposure prophylaxis, we have to prevent the disease. We have to prevent the disease in those who have already had infection. So we will, with the patient present with a bite of a dog or bats and had infection of rhabdovirus, we will first clean the wound by washing the wound or cleaning the wound by quaternary ammonium detergent or soap. Then we will excise the affected area or the damaged tissue. We will not suture the wound, we will lift it unsutured, and we will start from treatment. If the patient present in a day or two, we will give human immune serum vaccine. We can give vaccine in a day or two of biting and can prevent this patient from death. So the safest rabies antiserum vaccine is the safest rabies antiserum immunoglobulin is, there are two prophylactic things available. One is the immunoglobulin and other is the vaccine. We can vaccinate the patient. As well as we have to give the immunoglobulin. So if vaccine is given in 1 to 2 days, the patient can prevent it from death. And the immunoglobulin given is the human rabies immunoglobulin. It is given in the dose of 20 international unit per kg per body weight, and the dose is dated. Half of the immunoglobulin is infiltrated into the site of the wound, into the infected site, and half is injected at a different site. So the vaccine, half is injected at the site of bite and half is injected at a different site. And we can give hyperimmune animal serum, but this can cause hypersensitivity and anaphylactic reaction. So the safest vaccine is, we can give immunoglobulin at two different sites, at the wound site as well as at a different site. And we can give safest vaccine, which is human diploid cell strain vaccine, which we have already used in the susceptible group. We can also use after bite of an infected dog. So the dose of the human diploid cell strain vaccine is 1 ml intramuscularly on day 0, day 3, 1 week apart, then 2 week apart, then after 30 days, and then on day 90. On these days, on day 0, 3, 7, 14, 30, and 90, we will administer the dose of vaccine 1 ml intramuscularly. And in the developing country, if this immunoglobulin is not available, then we can use this vaccine, a small dose of this vaccine, 0.1 ml vaccine intradermally on a different site. On day 1, we have to give vaccine on a different site. Then basically we give doses of vaccine on day 0, 3, 7, 14, 30, 90, which are about 6 doses. We give 6 doses. But if IV immunoglobulin in a countries is not available, then we can give 8 doses on 8 different sites intradermally on day 1, and then single booster dose on day 7 and day 28. So we can give a dose of total 10 vaccine if immunoglobulin is not available. The complication it can cause are I have met a mnemonic for the complication, which is damper. So the patient can suffer from delirium and death. It can lead to aphasia. It can lead to muscular twitching, psychosis, restlessness, and seizure. Delirium, aphasia, muscular twitching, psychosis, restlessness, and seizure. Thank you. If you people are liking my video, please subscribe to my channel and share your feedback in the comment section.